Hello, sir.
Steve, great to be back with you again.
It's always a pleasure and an honor to talk to you, Governor. Thank you for coming on. I know you're very busy, the State of the Union and everything that's going on. Let me ask you first, as we speak, oral arguments ongoing in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, the Trump administration defending its executive order on the travel ban. You're a former Attorney General. There are, I think, 18 states that have signed on against this ban as a friend of the court. What do you think is going to take place?
Well, first of all, what the president did is perfectly legal, and it's not even close. And it's also clear that there was a very activist judge out on the West Coast, as there typically is. And we all know that the Ninth Circuit is a very activist liberal court. I think it may be the most overturned court of appeals in the United States of America. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they upheld the lower court ruling. But when it gets to the Supreme Court, I think the president will prevail because the law is very clear on this. The president has the authority to take action to keep our citizens safe, and that's exactly what he was doing. He didn't make up these countries. He didn't make up an across-the-board Muslim ban. What he did is he identified the countries that were identified by Barack Obama, that were identified by Congress, that were clearly identified as posing a threat to this nation. It's the president's first and foremost job to keep Americans safe, and that is exactly what he is trying to do.
He is trying to do that, and in a way, it affects you and your great state and states around the country. Of course, this sanctuary city issue is a big deal, and it's a big deal in the state of Texas. When people don't think about any sanctuary cities in the state of Texas, and when you have the Travis County and different places in the news, it takes a lot of people by surprise. Give us the latest. What's going on with some localities attempting not to follow the law as Donald Trump wants it followed, and even as you want it followed in the state of Texas?
For context for your audience, Austin, Texas, which is our state capital, is located in Travis County. The Travis County Sheriff has announced what is known as a sanctuary city policy, where she is not going to hold for immigration customs officials what are called ICE detainers. And she is going to release back out onto the street, she being the sheriff, is going to release back out onto the street people who may be arrested who have been previously convicted of crimes like armed robbery, of working with Mexican drug cartels. She is not going to hold them for ICE detainers to turn them over to ICE because of reasons that are inexplicable. This is exactly the type of action that the sheriff out in San Francisco had that allowed that criminal back out onto the streets that killed Kate Steinle. We are trying to prevent a Kate Steinle murder from taking place in the state of Texas. And so I and the Texas legislature are bringing the hammer down on Travis County. I've already withheld more than $1 million in funds that were going to Travis County that I said, listen, if you're going to have sanctuary city policies, we're not going to give you any money from the governor's office. Now we are seeking greater penalties, which would include fines, could include potential jail time, could include court action, an array of different penalties that will make it impossible for Travis County or any municipality in the state of Texas to adopt sanctuary city policies.
What, Governor, if I could ask, is the makeup of that county? Is it lean left? How is she able to get away with this when the people one would think would be against it? Maybe I'm wrong.
Most people in Travis County are against it, and overwhelming majority of people in the state of Texas are against it. Austin is in the central part of the state of Texas. It is the state capital. As you know, we are a red state, and we call it the blueberry in a sea of red soup here in the state of Texas. It's one of the very few blue counties in the state, and they are going more the way of California-style governance as opposed to the way we typically do things here in the state of Texas. In Texas, we believe putting the safety and security of our citizens first. I'm not willing to take a gamble on the safety and security of our citizens, so I'm going to make sure that we ban sanctuary cities in Texas.
Well, very good, and that it's great to hear someone like you speak, and it gives everybody else hope. Let me ask you, if I'm not mistaken, when you were Attorney General of Texas, you spearheaded the lawsuit against Obamacare with over 20 states signed on, correct?
That was one of 31 lawsuits that I filed against the Obama administration for either constructing laws or executive orders that violated the Constitution.
So where do you, when you hear that Obamacare is very difficult to repeal and replace, that it may not get done till later this year or maybe next year, and I understand they don't have 60 votes in the Senate to do everything they want to do, and I'm not blaming the president here. It would just seem to me that the Congress knew this was coming. And I want to hear what you have to say, but shouldn't the leadership have been a little bit more prepared? I know they don't have an HHS secretary yet. They don't have an attorney general, which I want you to weigh on also. But shouldn't the Congress have been a little better prepared to take this on, maybe get it done sooner rather than later?
Well, first, as both the president and I heard Paul Ryan say, and that is the way that Obamacare is currently being applied, which is the way that it was written, it is going to collapse of its own weight. There is no future pathway for Obamacare simply because the funding is not going to be there. The system was broken when it was originally built. And so a new system has to be constructed. But you pointed out one reason why it's not yet there in place, and that's because the Democrats have upheld the confirmation of the Secretary of Health and Human Services. He is one of the architects. Dr. Price is one of the architects of the Obamacare replacement. And so we need to get his confirmation done. We need to get the Health and Human Services leader confirmed. And then they need to be able to work with the House and the Senate to get a replacement in as quickly as possible. But it can't be done until we get those confirmations completed.
Absolutely. And on the issue of Jeff Sessions and other nominees today, we had Governor Pence for the first time in history cast a tie-breaking vote for a cabinet nominee. And we've seen the delay. I know today the Senate voted to limit extended debate on Senator Sessions for his nomination. By this time, Obama had just about everybody in place. And what Schumer and the Democrats have elected to do, and on the issue of the Supreme Court justice, is just be obstructionist.
Well, you brought up the one word that's pivotal here, and that is obstruction. The only agenda Democrats have is obstruction. They don't have any principles or policies to run on. Remember this, and that is the president in the history of the United States of America who elected the most Republicans of all was Barack Obama. And it is because of the failed policies of the Obama administration, the failed policies of the Democrats over the past 8 years, while we have so many Republican legislatures across the country, so many Republican governors across the country, and while we have the House, the Senate, and the president all Republican. Donald Trump won in part because of the policies he ran on, in part because the Democrats had no policies to run on. And so what we need to do is to unleash these policies, get these bills passed, and put America back onto the right course.
Yep. Governor, it is such a privilege to talk to you. Stay well, and we'll speak to you soon, sir.
Thank you so much, Steve. Take care.
Take care. Governor Greg Abbott, ladies and gentlemen, of the great state of Texas.